Y'all know something that I see in our community is we feed our kids to the street. Not me, but we feed our kids to the streets. We give them that rap music. We give them people to look up to. They watch the gangster movies. They watch a lot of stuff about hood shows. They watch on Netflix, Hulu, Prime. Like, you feed your kids to the streets. The way you dress them, the way you allow them to act. Like, you feed your kids to the streets. And then when the streets kill them, you want to sit there and be sad. You want to be mad. Like, a lot of y'all parents, y'all stay in the ghetto. Y'all don't have to stay in the ghetto. Y'all can literally move out if y'all want to. But y'all choose to stay there. Like, y'all feed y'all kids to the streets and then be mad when they die. Like, just think about all the kids that grew up in the hood. They didn't have to grow up in the hood for real. If their parents want to just get out and really do something. But people feed their kids to the streets. The shows that you get them to watch. The sayings that you say come from other shows. Like, you feeding your kids to the streets. So you keep feeding your kids to the streets. When they grow up, they go out there and they act like in the streets. Then when they die in the streets, then you want to say, oh, my baby, oh, my son, oh, this and oh, that. You know, you feeding your kids to the streets. You feeding your kids to death. It's already enough against us, but you don't help feed your kids to a place where they want your kids to be in the streets so they can die. They want your kids to be in prison. You feeding your kids to destruction. When you allow them to listen to that music, or when you listen to that type of music around your kid and they start singing the lyrics and learning the songs, you feeding your kids to the streets. You feeding your kids to the prison. So you feeding your kids to destruction. And a lot of people act like, no, yes, you are. When you show your kids certain ways how you act as a man or as a woman, you feeding your females to the streets, you feeding your males to the streets, you feeding them to prison, you feeding them to a corrupt life. Because you think it's cool and you think that's supposed to be the type of music a kid's supposed to listen to, but you literally feeding them to death early, feeding them to prison early. Some don't even have to go to prison. They be fed to this lifestyle. Not spending time with them. Chasing men, the men chasing with, like, you feeding your kids to death early. You feeding your kids to the streets. You feeding your kids to prison. Then when something happens, you want to cry. But look what you have been feeding them. The TV shows, the reality shows, the movies, the music. Like, you feeding your kids to the streets and then you wonder, come on, that's why all these black kids dying in the streets. Because they've been fed in the streets. Their parents feeding them disinformation, music, TV shows, everything.